Mr. Allen?
Andre Allen.
Andre Allen? I could hear you. I'm afraid my recorder is not going to pick up real well because it wasn't that loud. So I'll just be mindful of that. Can you get closer to the microphone or do something? Talk a little louder if you're going to sit back.
I'm not sitting back on anything. This is all I have. I have a laptop.
Okay, you're now talking louder. I can hear you better. So if you'll just do that for me, that'll help. Ms. Hughes, go ahead and announce yourself and your full legal name.
Holly Danielle Hughes.
Thank you. Now I need to swear you in. If you'd both raise your right hands for me. Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, starting with you, Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Thank you. Let me tell you a few things I need to tell you before we start with your actual case. One is that I'm an associate judge. I've been appointed to hear cases filed by the Office of the Attorney General's Office or Child Support Unit. We don't have court reporters, so we have digital recorders. We are courts of record, but it's not by court reporter. I'm telling you all that so you're mindful of it. So I need you to talk, all your answers need to be verbal, loud enough for the recorder to pick up and the court to hear. No shaking your head or nodding and answering questions. That does not record. No ahas or ahs. I need more formal yeses and nos. The second part of the recording issues is that you heard me announce we were live streaming on YouTube. It is required that the courts are open to the public. And if we were sitting in a courtroom in Comal County today, people could walk in and observe proceedings that in my courtroom that is their right to do and my obligation to fulfill. So I'm telling you that because they started during COVID when nobody was at the courthouse for a while. They did the Zoom platform here to hold hearings on, and because people can't walk into our courtroom here unless we publish it some way somehow, they've set up the YouTube on a live stream on YouTube to do that, to meet the open courts requirement. The reason I'm telling you that is that I don't want you to blurt out your home addresses, social security numbers, cell numbers, something that you would not want out on the internet identifying you, because once you say it, I could not take it back. We are live streaming now. So be mindful of that. And then just so you're aware, I've got the official record on my digital recorder, but the YouTube app is authorized to record. It's not the official record. And when I get done with the hearing here, I try to go delete the recording that's on the app because the public's not entitled to the recorded version, just the live version in this courtroom. So I'll try to get rid of that as quick as I can. The last part of the recording issues is that I'm the only one that's allowed to record. Like I said, the official record is on my recorder. Do not record it would be considered a violation of our laws, subject to contempt of court, punishable by a fine and or a jail sentence. And that applies to everybody here in the courtroom and anybody observing outside the courtroom from the YouTube app. Do not record. And I'll also make you aware that the four of us on video right now, we're the ones that are participating in hearing. There's a few other people in the courtroom that are allowed to be here. They're either staff of the Attorney General's office or my court coordinator. And either they conducting their other business on this docket today, or they're here to help service if we need them, and it's allowed. So let me start with you, Mr. Allen. Do you have any questions or concerns about any of the recording issues or anything else I've said today?
None.
Thank you. And Ms. Hughes, same question.
No.
Thank you. We'll go forward. Mr. Valderas, you'll announce yourself and give me an opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor. Edward Balderas for the Office of Attorney General. The Attorney General's office filed this suit affecting the parent-child relationship in February of 2024. It's been said a few times here in court, Your Honor. And both parties are here today, and I've conferred with both of them. And I believe that they have an agreement on the issue of conservatorship, but that they don't have an agreement on the issues of possession and access and child support. And so I think those are the two main issues before the court, Your Honor. There is another witness I may call, Ms. Deandra Rodriguez. She works for the Attorney General's office to testify with regard to Mr. Allen's wages. However, she's working with some folks that are here for a different case on the docket today. And so I believe she's almost going to be done with that one soon. And so when she's available, I definitely would like to call her later, Your Honor. But for now, Your Honor, I'd like to get started and have witnesses testify as to what they want with regard to the issues of possession and access and child support.
Okay, can you tell me how many children, how old, or you can get it from testimony? I'd like to know that at the beginning.
Yes, Your Honor. There's only one child before the court today, Your Honor. Preston Daniel Hughes. Preston is 3 years old. He will be turning 4 later this year in November.
Okay, thank you. And we'll go for it. So you may start calling witnesses.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. State will go ahead and call Miss Holly Hughes. Miss Hughes, when it comes to Preston, is it true that you would like to be appointed as Preston's primary managing conservator, in the sense saying that you are the person that should determine where Preston lives?
Yes.
Okay. And so if you are the primary managing conservator, and I told the court, and I believe Mr. Allen's in agreement with that, do you think that Preston and Mr. Allen should have visitation to be able to see each other and be a part of each other's lives?
Andre has always been able to have visitations with Preston. Andre chooses to be an absent father. That's a question that you have to ask him.
Okay. And I will ask him some questions about the same topic here, Ms. Hughes, but continuing with you here, when is the last time that you recall that Mr. Allen saw Preston?
It was Preston's second birthday, November 12th of 22. Preston's birthday is on November 20th, but we had his party a couple of weeks early. Andre has not been present in almost 2 years. November will be 2 years.
Do you and Mr. Allen communicate with each other? How would you characterize y'all's communication at this point? Is it good or is it poor?
I don't talk to him. He hasn't talked to me other than him calling and telling me a couple months ago that he does not want to be put on child support and that he will not agree to anything that I want or what's best for his son. He will fight me for a year if he has to. That's the only time. It had been over a year since I had talked to him verbally, and he called to say those things after our court.
Okay. Now, all this being said, when it comes to visits between Mr. Allen and Preston, do you believe that they should be supervised visits?
I do, because Andre is an absent father. Preston does not know who his dad is. He's a complete stranger to Preston. So in Preston's best interest, my son that I have raised, that I have taken care of, that I have done everything for, yes, supervised visitations, I believe is in the best interest of my son, who is 3.
Okay. And how often do you think the visit should be supervised? And for how long do you think the visit should be supervised?
I would like them to occur for a year. But even with me setting it for a year, I do not think that Andre will even see his son anyways, because he currently does not see his son, nor cares about his son, nor does anything for his son. So in order for a child who is so young to gain that comfort and relationship with somebody, it takes time, especially when that child has no clue who his parent is.
Do you think that visits should be every week, every weekend, every couple
Whenever
of weeks?
Andre wants to see his son, he can come see his son.
Whenever you're done with what?
When Andre wants to see his son, he can see his son. He has always been able to see his son whenever he wants. He chooses to be absent. He chooses to not be a parent.
Okay, let me just jump in here. First of all, Mr. Valderas, because of the nature of the case and the age of the child, I'm just going to tell you folks that guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do probably a temporary order and have you come back. So we start something, see where it went, see if it went, see where the problems were, blah, 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 blah. So I don't pretend to have a crystal ball and know what's the best to do for the next however many years left till he turns 18, even for the next year, whether that's appropriate or not, Ms. Hughes. I like to start maybe slowly and get something going and come back and see what happened. If we figure it out, things settle down, y'all work it out, great. If you don't, I hear it again, and maybe you can resolve it at that point as a final case, final order, or go to the next step or the next step. I've had cases for as long as a year when it's been really opposite sides and lots of different set of facts from each parent. So I'm known to do temporary orders, and then we try to touch it again to see what happened. So that'll make this hearing a little bit shorter, I think, and everybody will be on the same page. But I'll also tell you, Ms. Hughes, that whenever he wants is not what I can put in the order. And then let's see if he shows up. Now that you're in court, it has to be specific. It's my charge to follow the law and to say well, it can't be at reasonable times for reasonable dates, because then y'all will never figure out what reasonable is and get it done. So I have to say every week for 2 hours on a certain day, and where the exchanges are, and who's supervising, all these real detailed specifics, and what you're asking for I can't do. So I'm going to ask you to try to carve it out a little bit better for me, and to get so he knows when he could go. And I need to hear schedules. I need to hear any conflicts in scheduling, what days are better, what hours are better, child's what is it, bath time, bedtime, feeding time, those kinds of things, so that I can craft it to try to make it work. And then if he has it and then doesn't show up, then you have some more evidence of him not wanting to get involved, even with a court order, even with specifics. So help me help you, Ms. Hughes, and answer the questions Mr. Valdez is going to ask, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, which days, what times, because otherwise I can't help you. So Mr. Valdez.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hughes, do you believe it should be every weekend? Do you think it should be every couple of weekends? Every other weekend? What are you anticipating the visitation should be if it was up to you?
If every weekend is, I mean, that's his dad. He needs to have a relationship. So if it's every weekend, that's fine with me.
Okay.
But can I also say something? Can the judge hear me?
Of course I can. I'm here.
Okay.
This is my courtroom. I can hear everybody. Yes.
This is the 4th time that we've gotten together, and I believe it's the 3rd time that we've had with you. The very first time that we got together in court, and I had mentioned that Andre had not seen his son since November of 22. You told him you told him, you said, you need to see your son. I expect you to see your son. He has not seen him since we met with you the first time. He has not come to visit.
How long ago was that?
Even after you suggested he needs to see his son.
How long ago was that, Ms. Hughes?
Oh gosh, maybe
This year, I suspect.
maybe it was June. I think it was June.
It's a few months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's been no specific order, and that's what I'm trying to get to today. So yes, of course I'll take notice, and I figure things out and know that he hasn't been visiting and he's a complete stranger. But it also looks like you want him to visit. So now I gotta force the issue. If he wants visits and we give him specific visits and make it to where he can go to the visits, then I'll see if he obeyed a court order or not. So what can I tell you? I'm not sure if you're asking me to not give him anything because he hasn't done anything, or to force him to go see him, which I can agree to do, but ultimately it's up to him to exercise visits. I can't put him in jail if he doesn't.
Correct. Yes.
But then it'll give me the evidence I need for a future court date on what I should do at that point. Got it? So I still need to.
Okay. So like I said, this is the 4th time we've gotten together. And so are you telling me that we're going to have to now reschedule again?
I'm telling you, I'm hearing evidence today, so I can put a temporary order in place that has specifics in it so that I can see that he's going to go visit, or he's just wasting our time, and whatever I put isn't going to work if he's not willing to go visit. And so that'll help me craft a future order for what the rest of it should be, but at least giving them opportunity under a temporary order to get things started. And then I get to see you at least one more time to wrap it up, or maybe get to the next step. I don't promise what I'm going to do in the future because I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out what I do in the present that'll help me figure out the future, because you got a very young child and a lot of years left and nothing has happened. So this is where I kickstart the ball. I kind of put things under their past, they're under the bridge. This is the first time you see me and y'all haven't worked it out. Then I get to work it out for you. That's the way it works. So I'm telling you, I'll do a temporary order and I will see you again, but it will be with something in place that's specific, and either he obeys it or he doesn't. And I'll figure that out when you come back.
Okay. My main concern is the best interest of my son. So, the visitation.
I'm charged with that too, ma'am. And one of the best interests is also, is you have a relationship with the other parent, or can I help create one by court order if I have to, because it hasn't happened yet. So it's not just you. I want to do best interest too. That is my job. And I hope Mr. Allen, has the child's best interest in mind as well, because that's
Well, he does
both parents. Yes, I get it. I heard it. I've heard it now 10 times. I know he's an absent father. I'm giving him a chance to be not absent because kids do need parents. Now, if he chooses to continue to be absent, even under a court order, then that's on him. And I will do whatever I need to do. We'll give him visits, not give him visits. I don't know. But in a first case, when you're just getting started with a court order and y'all have not worked it out, no matter how old the child is, it's still incumbent on me to order something in terms of visits. I can't deny him visits unless the evidence is so severe about why the child would be in danger with him. I haven't heard that yet. And so it's a high burden to deny visits, and being an absent parent isn't it. Absent parents in prison still get visits when they get out. So just so you're aware, that's what I'm trying to bring to the table, where I establish an order and what's it going to be. So I need details, or I need to give y'all details in an order, and it helps you to, if you help me figure out what your schedules are so I can do that so it'll work. So I don't know if I answered your question or not. I'm trying to give you some information from my perspective and what my job is. But I've heard you. He hasn't visited. He's a stranger to his child, and that's why you're asking for supervised. And I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying I need specifics, and then I'll figure it out on a temporary basis, and then I see you again. That's what I am saying. So can you help me and answer Mr. Valdez's questions? So, Mr. Valdez, you can try again.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hughes, let's see here. Number one, do you believe you should be the person that supervises the visits?
Yes.
Would you be comfortable having the visits at your residence, or do you think they should be at a different location, like a public place?
A public place would probably be best, but if, worst case scenario, if we had to be at home, then that would be fine.
Is there a local place near you that Preston enjoys? I don't know. It could be a restaurant or a park or whatever.
Yeah, there's a children's museum, and there's like a bouncy house place.
Okay. The children's museum, do you know the name of it?
McKenna Children's Museum.
Okay. Is that in New Braunfels?
Yes.
Okay. And do you work during the week?
Yes.
Is that okay? Monday through Friday, 8 to 5?
Yes.
Okay. I anticipate, because I talked to the two of y'all before we had this hearing, that Mr. Allen may testify that he works as well, but his working hours are actually on Saturday and Sunday, and other parts of the week as well. But and so it's a little bit atypical than a normal job. If that's the case, do you think? Do you have any idea when the visits can take place that would accommodate both your schedules, or is that something that you're not sure about?
I'm not sure about. If Andre wants to see his son, he needs to figure something out. He needs to make time for his son.
What would your preference be to when the visits would be, what days they would be, and what hours how long they would take?
Saturdays and Sundays, the weekends.
From what time to what time?
Honestly, I do not know. I wouldn't say a certain time, just when he can spend time with his son.
Would 1 o'clock in the afternoon to say 5 o'clock in the afternoon, would that be okay? Or do you think it should be longer or shorter? What do you think about 1 to 5?
That would be okay. We could just play it by ear. But I do have 2 other kids, and one's in a sport, and he has football on the weekends. So
okay,
we might possibly have to meet at the football field or game, just things like that. Would be a play by ear.
Is that basically Saturday morning kind of things, or is it all over the Saturdays or even Sundays?
The games, they could we had a game this past weekend, and it was in San Antonio, so it was a good drive, and he didn't get back until I think after 2. So just things like that.
How old is that child that's in the football sport?
He's 7.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowler?
Okay. And you said that you wanted these supervised visits for a year. If they're once a week, that could, I anticipate that would be 52 weeks, 52 visits before having unsupervised visits. Do you think there could be anything less than a year's worth of supervised visits, or is that?
I don't
Go
want
ahead.
anything beside. I don't want to settle and decide on anything besides a year. If throughout that year, if Andre decides to be a parent, a father, and he gains a relationship with his son, then him and I can make changes based off of that. But I don't want to go for anything less when I am considering the best interest of my son. So a year is what I would like, what I think is best.
Okay. When it comes to when the supervised visit, so if the court orders that after a year the visits go to unsupervised, would you want to see visits become day visits, perhaps, where Mr. Allen picks Preston up and at some time during the day and drops him off at another, later on in the afternoon or sometime? Would that be okay with you?
Depending on how the year goes and the relationship that he has with his son, that would be fine. If Andre for the next year comes and goes, doesn't see his son like he is supposed to with the order, then he won't have a relationship with his son like he should at the end of the year, then that wouldn't be okay. So it all depends on Andre and how much effort he's able to put into being a father.
You said that Preston doesn't know Mr. Allen.
No, he doesn't know who his dad is.
He doesn't know. Knowing Preston as you do, how long do you think it would take him to get to know Mr. Allen, to kind of form that bond that he understands that Mr. Allen's his father, and they develop a relationship?
I can't tell you. That all depends on Andre, on how consistent he is.
Okay, so
I know my son. He obviously he's 3. He has a comfort level, so that would take time. But I can't give you like a time frame. It all depends on how consistent Andre is and how often he sees his son.
So what I hear from you is that you want consistency from Mr. Allen.
And no one can force it on him. Andre hasn't been a father thus far for the past 4 years. So, consistency would be nice, but no one can force a man to be a father.
When it comes to Preston, is he a healthy child? Does he have any medical issues?
Yes, he's very smart, very happy, just an awesome kid.
Okay. All right. Okay, ma'am. And so, Your Honor, I would like to ask more questions with regard to child support. I'm looking at the time, and so I think what I'd like to do is pass the witness for now. I'd like to recall Ms. Hughes to ask her more questions about child support, but I know that Ms. Rodriguez is now free after I think she's now available to testify. Perhaps we can get her testimony in before the 10:30 break there, and at least have that done with before moving on with more questioning.
That makes sense to me because I know we have to release her to do other assignments for court today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then Ms. Deandra Rodriguez, you've appeared in my virtual courtroom. If you go ahead and announce yourself with your full legal name.
Yes, I'm Deandra Rodriguez.
Now, if I could swear you in, raise your right hand for me. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Then you've been called as a witness. I'm going to take you out of turn so that, we can take care of all sorts of other things going on with our docket today. So, Mr. Valeras.
Thank you, Your Honor. State will call Ms. Deandra Rodriguez. Ms. Rodriguez, can you tell me, who do you work for?
I work for the Texas Attorney General Child Support.
And what is your job title?
I'm a child support officer.
How long have you been a child support officer?
For 7 years.
And as part of your duties as a child support officer, do you look up income information for people that have cases, child support cases here in Texas?
Yes, sir, I do.
before coming here to testify, did you have a chance to look up the income information for Mr. Andre Deshaun Allen?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And so can you tell me, according to what you found there, does it appear that Mr. Allen is currently working?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. Can you tell the court the name of the his employer?
I have Geo Transport.
Do you have another employer name as well?
Yes, sir. It is Security Services.
Okay. For that employer, Securitas Security Services, can you tell me how many quarters of income can you see have been reported?
I show 10.
Okay. And so, can you tell the court how much money or how much income was reported for the year 2022 with Mr. Allen at Securitas Security Services?
For the whole year of 2022, is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have, let's see. I have $71,995.30.
Okay. Now I'd like to ask you to do the same thing for the year 2023.
2023, let's see. I am showing uh, 2023, it's $67,792.88.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And then finally, I'd like to ask you to look at the reported wages for 2024 for both Securitas and for the Geo Transport employer.
Yes, sir. That amount is going to be $31,154.03.
Okay.
That's for 2 quarters, Ms. Rodriguez? That doesn't include, we're in the middle of another quarter now, but that's not reported, so it's for the first 6 months?
Yes, ma'am, the first 6 months.
Okay, for both employers, okay.
Okay. And so, Ms. Rodriguez only had a couple more questions here. When it comes to prior to Securitas, do you see any employer for Mr. Allen in the year 2021?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, all right. And then when it comes to the last quarter of 2020, which is the time of the year that Preston, their child, was born, can you tell me what he earned in the last quarter of 2020 at, whatever employer he had at the time?
So in 2020, I show, is it Serco Inc., SCRCO Inc., and the only quarter reported for 4 of 2020 is $12,594.92.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Rodriguez. I will pass the witness.
Technically, Ms. Hughes, Mr. Hughes, did I get that wrong? Mr. Allen. You all are entitled to cross-examination of any witnesses. You're here acting as your own lawyers, so you have the right to ask questions of any witnesses brought forward. So, Mr. Allen, do you have any questions for Ms. Rodriguez before I let her go?
Yes, you have income wrong. 2020, 22, whatever you have there in front of you. There's a variance of hours worked and wages earned. Pre-COVID, like I explained to the district attorney, pre-COVID, people were quitting jobs and letting go, so we were working more hours. So the reason for the increase of annual wages was because of that.
Well, let me try to formulate a
that's factored
question
in
for you.
overtime.
for the year of 2022 with the highest income year, I guess. Can you tell from the quarters, Ms. Rodriguez, that did they vary wildly or because COVID started in 2020?
2020, yes, Your Honor.
March of 2020 is when I remember it, mid-March. But this is 2022 already. This is a couple years into COVID. So can you tell me, just break it down because I'm gonna let you go and then I won't be able to ask you questions anyway. So break it down the 4 quarters of 2022, what each quarter shows as
Yes.
income.
So the first quarter of 22 is $14,120.75.
Okay,
The second of 22 is $18,264.04.
okay,
The third quarter is $18,099.52.
okay,
And the last quarter is going to be $21,510.99.
okay. Now I'm gonna go forward, but in 2023, were the quarters dramatically different or were they all about the same that year?
I mean, there is a difference. I can break those down as well if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead. I may as well know it right now.
Okay, so the first quarter of 23 is $14,201.34.
Okay,
Second quarter is $17,440.75.
okay,
Third quarter is $15,395.80.
okay,
And fourth quarter is $20,754.99.
and before we move on, and I just took over, Mr. Allen, because I'm trying to cut it down. I know you have some questions. I'll let you in a minute. But what did you get as the average monthly income for 2022? Or did you do that? Yeah, yeah,
I did not, but I can real quick. Let's see.
sure.
264.
Including the highs and the lows apparently, and I'll get more testimony later from Mr. Allen.
So 71. For an average in 2022, I'm getting $5,999.61.
And can you do the same for 2023, whether it's higher or lower? I can't tell, but you'll do the
Yes,
math.
ma'am.
Okay,
Let me add that real quick.
sure.
So that one is $5,649.41.
Okay, now let's go to 2024 real quick. You said there are 2 employers, but break it down to me by employer so I know the primary job, the secondary job, and really the difference between the two. So we only have the first quarter and second quarter of 2024 so far. Start with the major employer, the more income.
Okay, so Securitas, I have the first quarter is $14,601.84.
Okay,
Second quarter is $13,326.50.
15,326.50.
Sorry,
5?
13.
Oh,
I'm sorry, $13,326.50.
Then I heard that wrong, so it's 13,000. Okay, and
Right,
then
yep.
the second job for the same quarters.
So for Geo, it's on the second of 2024 is $3,225.69.
It's only the second quarter for Geo,
Correct, yes, ma'am.
so there's
That's all.
nothing for the first quarter. So you just picked that up. So the second quarter would have been what, April, May, and June of this year.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And okay, that's all I have to report. Mr. Allen, do you have any other questions now that she's broken it down for me and you can explain all the difference in the variances? Yes.
You already see the variances. They're right there before you. However, like I just stated,
Well,
pre-COVID,
right now,
after COVID.
Mr.
Hang on
Allen,
one second.
no,
Am I
no,
allowed to
you
talk?
hang on, Mr. Allen. You want to tell your side now. Now's not the time. I got people coming in 2 minutes that I need to let
Just
in.
ask me
So
to talk.
I'm
That's not
asking
how it's
you to
supposed.
ask questions of Ms. Rodriguez so I can let her go, and then you come back and talk about it. Yes, but I got to let this witness go, and I got to get Ms. Hughes to see if she has any questions. Do you have any questions for Ms. Rodriguez that have not already been addressed by her testimony?
Geo is not applicable at this time, like I stated. I'm
Okay,
trying to
again,
get
that's
that
your
out.
testimony. Do you have a question to ask her about her
No.
testimony? Thank you. Ms. Hughes, do you have any questions for Ms. Rodriguez?
No.
Does that, Mr. Valdez, any further questions for Ms. Rodriguez?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for your service. I know you got other assignments. You excuse Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes,
Now-
ma'am, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's 10:28 according to my clocks, 10 or so. So now's the time to take a break, Mr. Valdez. Do you want us to go to another room and just start there and keep going, or do you want to wait for this to ease up and come back here?
I don't think I have a preference, Your Honor. Whichever one you like would prefer.
I'm available and I can continue to hear hearing. I just can't keep doing that in my virtual courtrooms. We need to allow other people in for the 10:30 docket and get them assigned and start working on their cases. So I
Okay.
can give you another Zoom ID number so we can move over there and keep going on your case. Would you like to do that, Mr. Allen?
No questions at this time.
I'll go open the courtroom, Judge.
Okay,
wait,
Mr.
Your
Allen, I'm
Honor.
asking you if there's any problem with us going to another courtroom so we can keep
No.
going on your case. Do you want to
No.
do that?
None.
Your
No
Honor, would
problem.
it be easier to go into a separate breakout room?
Well, then I can't live stream from there.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, Your
So
Honor.
my requirement being an open court, I'm trying to abide by. So
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Hughes, I assume if we keep going forward, you'd be okay going to another virtual courtroom? Ms. Hughes?
Oh, yes, that's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna make the executive decision. We got to go to another room. So I'm gonna stop my record. I'm actually gonna pause my digital recorder, the official record. I can unpause it in the next courtroom. And then I'm gonna stop live stream, give you the Zoom ID for that. And y'all log into the next courtroom and we'll meet there in just a minute. My coordinator just is leaving so she can go open it up before we get there. So that concludes the record for this hearing, and I'll pause my digital recorder.
3 days later, 3 weeks later.
There was a witness identified and put into the waiting room. There's a Trinice Lewis here that said she was a witness on this case. Ms. Hughes, is that your witness for some, by any chance?
Yes,
How is she related to you, or who is she?
she is someone that I've known for almost 9 years.
She's a friend of yours?
Yes,
No relation? Okay.
correct.
So you might be calling her as a witness?
Yes, just so she can attest to the fact that Andre is absent.
Okay, I haven't heard from Mr. Allen on that, but we'll see if that's necessary or not. Okay, however, also off record, I understood that Mr. Allen told me he was going to make a phone call before you got here. I'm not sure what the delay was, Ms. Hughes, but in the meantime, he said he wanted to call his attorney. We had him muted, so we couldn't hear him. And Mr. Allen, you said you made a phone call to a lawyer and you're ready to go forward today without a lawyer at this second half of the hearing, sir?
At this time.
At this time, well, that's all the time I got. So yes, if you get a lawyer after the fact, it's too late for this hearing, but you're willing to go forward representing yourself, correct?
You got it.
At this time. Okay, I get that part. Okay, then we'll go forward. We had just finished with the one witness, which was a witness by the state, the child support officer, actually going through reported wages in the state's database. So, Mr. Valdez, you're calling witnesses. What did you want to do at this time with respect to which witness on what issues?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to continue asking questions to both parties. However, I think I'd like to start with Mr. Allen to testify. And
You had called Ms. Hughes and she had only discussed the issue of visitation so far, and conservatorship,
far.
not income. So we'll go forward on those issues with Mr. Allen before we get back to Ms. Hughes. That sounds fair. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. State will call Mr. Andre Allen. Mr. Allen,
Yes, sir.
I think, let's go ahead and kind of pick up where Ms. Rodriguez had left off there when we were talking about your income. She had testified that, in 2022 at Securitas, your income was $71,995 and some change, that it decreased to $67,792 and some change. And right now, the first part of this year, 2024, your 6 months reported income is $31,154.03. So far, you're on pace to have make less money this year than you did last year or the year before that. Now, can you tell me just a little bit about your job? What do you do for work?
work with ICE. I do detainee transports. I fly to and from different countries of origin.
And is it,
International.
oh, international?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it true that you work
What is,
on the?
hold on, I'm not sure I understood that. You fly back and forth, but what do you do with on these flights, or do you do, what do you do?
I do detainee transport. There's immigration. There's an immigration thing that's going on right now.
I didn't hear any of that. That's why I'm asking. Thank you.
I am contracted to transport detainees, any persons that have felonies or anything of that sort, to and from their countries of origin.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Allen. And is it true that you work on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday? What is your work week?
Yes,
what
sir.
Is your
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursdays are variable because of the flight pattern. Because when I get back on Wednesdays, it might be nighttime going into Thursdays.
But you're off on Friday then, is that right?
I'm technically off on Thursdays and Fridays, but Thursdays, like I said, it depends where we go. If we go to Guatemala, China, wherever we go, it depends on that flight pattern.
And so yeah, depending on, I guess, the airlines and the plane schedules, you're off on Thursday, but you could be stuck in an airport somewhere.
Could be, yes, sir. That's what happened with the last court date.
Okay. All right. Now, you heard Ms. Hughes's testimony with regard to visitation, that she preferred to have supervised visits on the weekends for a full year. What do you say to that? Are you in agreement with the supervised visits?
Yes, we can meet at a police station. It'll be better, in my opinion.
Okay. Would you be able to meet on the weekends, or do you think that you're not available at that time?
I'm not available.
Is that because you're literally flying out of the country?
Yes.
Okay. If it wasn't on the weekends, but let's say instead of during the afternoon, let's say it was on Fridays after Preston gets out of school, something, maybe it couldn't be a full 4 hours. Maybe it could be something like 6 to 8 p.m. or 5:30 to 7:30. I'm just putting stuff out there. Would that work better for you?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that's something you could do every week?
Based on, today's traffic, I could be there like you stated. Yes, sir.
And would you be willing to do that? You had, I think Ms. Hughes had mentioned the Children's Museum, but you'd prefer to have that visit at the police station?
Yes, sir. So it's documented.
To have it there the whole time there, or just meet there, maybe go somewhere else?
Whatever is convenient. I just would prefer, I would just prefer, if it's going to be a supervised visit, I just want to document it. I just don't want to keep going back in these shambles of my character being pushed into this meeting here.
Well, let me stop you there. The police station is not there to document visitation periods at their doorstep or inside their lobby. And if I send you there, they're probably going to eventually want to know what you're doing there and why you're there for a few hours with a kid. So
this isn't my first rodeo. You can go and meet at the police station and go in and have a case drawn up, non-emergency.
But why are you making a police report if you're there for
my character's being questioned? Why not? So it can be documented that I met with my son, and you guys have an actual record of it.
There's lots of cameras in lots of places, including personal.
There's not cameras at parks.
There what?
There's not cameras at parks.
Well, there are in restaurants and I guess outdoor shops and stuff, but
again.
You think having the actual visit there was conducive to bonding with the child in a police station?
Do you think my character being questioned is conducive of that type of behavior?
The only question I've heard is that you didn't show up, not that you're a bad guy, a bad father, a bad person. I haven't heard.
I've never done anything. A life event happened in my life. I got into a real bad car accident. Surgery was administered. There's nothing I can do about that.
That's a little bit more than I had expected. But what I'm trying to figure out is the actual details of where. I'm not sure that the inside lobby of police station is it, because they're not there.
I never said the inside lobby. All I said is I wanted to meet at the police station. It documented. I go inside. I make a small case number. We can meet in the parking lot. We can be right there in the parking lot, face to face. She watches. You said cameras.
In
The cameras are
the
watching.
100-degree weather, even at 5 or 6 or 7, it's asphalt or concrete parking lot, that's what you think is best for these visits.
I don't know. Does parks have air conditioning?
No, I'm not talking about that, but they might have gazebos, they might have trees, they might have whatever. There's other places as well, and she included her address.
The police station they have trees in the parking lot as well in New Braunfels.
Well, are you opposed to the police station, Ms. Hughes?
If Andre wants to bond with his son, doing things that Preston likes to do, activities, riding bikes, going to the park, doing things that Preston likes to do would be best. And that's how you bond with a child.
Okay. My question was, are you opposed to the police station? And it looks like you are. You'd rather have some other child-friendly place. Is that what you mean?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to Mr. Allen. Mr. Valderas, I'll let you conduct more questioning.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Allen, when it comes to the child support, well, let me go ahead and tell you. When I look at your income, as testified to by Ms. Rodriguez, just looking at the 2024 income, since it appears to be less than the other 2 years that you had with Securitas here, I get a gross monthly income of $5,192.33. If I include a medical support amount of $160 for the government health plan, I come out with guideline child support of $835 for one child for Preston. That's what the guidelines tell me child support should be. Do you think that child support should be set at that number, or do you think it should be a different amount?
I think it should be a different amount, but at the end of the day, sir, I'm not going to go back and forth with this. Holly is wanting money, so go ahead and do what you got to do to give it to her, because y'all want $1,000 a month. Go ahead, because I'm done with this, sir. I'm being honest with you, because at the end of the day, the income y'all have is totally wrong, and you'll see. Because again, if I have to return to court with my own attorney to prove that fact, I will.
Well, I am a court of law, and I'm authorized to make these decisions. Yes, you have the right of appeal, so that's what your lawyer's doing. Let it play out. Let's see what that judge puts in the order, and let me appeal her, and we'll see what happens in a district court. But you're wasting my time, but you don't have a lawyer here, so I would gladly send you over there if you had a lawyer, but you're pro se, you belong here until lawyers come in, make it more contested and more witnesses and lengthier, and then it no longer belongs here.
Yes, ma'am.
However, this is your chance to explain why I shouldn't do what the state's asking me. They're saying this is a guideline. It's a presumption based on the guideline.
$900, $960 off of an income that you have wrong. I just told you. I tried to explain that earlier, and I tried to explain that you have the income wrong, and I don't have time to go back and forth.
No, well, this is your time to tell me why it's wrong and what you think is right. What's the right income then?
I thought me and Holly came to an agreement. She is in disagreement with the district attorney. So the district attorney has already made me fully aware that she was in disagreement. So she is in disagreement.
Well, I'm not a part of those negotiations. I have no idea what you talked about.
If we could just go ahead and push the issue, I'll contest it. Just if you want to put the orders in for $960 a month, go ahead. I'll fight it. So you do what you do.
I'm trying to do what's the right thing, and if you don't explain your side, I can't give you relief, and I can't decide whether the guidelines is the proper number or not. Now, tell me again, Mr. Valderas, the 5,192. Did you average the 2 year? What did you average to get that 5,100?
Only the quarters reported for 2024.
Oh, for 2024, that is the lower numbers.
Correct, Your Honor. If I had used 2022, 2023's income, it would be higher. I haven't done those calculations, but it would, probably be higher than.
So it would be the lower numbers, and that the first 2 quarters did include 2 jobs. But now I'm understanding that. Well, let me ask you direct, Mr. Allen. You dropped the Securitas job, and now you're doing just geo for currently. Is that right?
You're muted. There you go.
I don't work the geo job, man. That's what I'm saying. Look at the quarters you have in front of you. Look at the quarters. And
well, the quarters that are reported based on the last testimony of Ms. Rodriguez was that you had the two jobs in the first quarter and you only had one income reported in the second quarter. Can you explain that part?
No, the extra job for the quarter was for my son. My son was graduating high school. That was it.
Okay.
It was just a means. It was just a means to make money to get him situated because he had just turned 18. That was it.
Okay. So then
That was
tell
the only
me
difference. But
how long-
that income has nothing to do with this situation.
So
Mr.
the
Allen,
first quarter of 2024, you had a second job and that was which one? The geo job?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But I heard that the second quarter, no, what is it? Yeah, the second quarter of 2024, geo was the only one that was reported. You're no longer with Securitas, or you are with Securitas?
No, you have it backwards. Securitas is the
Backwards?
primary job.
Okay. Then I do have it backwards. I heard geo and I wrote geo, but Securitas.
Right. That's why.
So
That's
why
what I
would
was trying to. That's
April-
why I was trying to correct her because she said it when she reported it to you, and that's what I was trying to get y'all both to understand that Securitas is the primary. That's the first quarter listed out that she gave you is only Securitas. I don't understand. What I don't understand what's going on. That's what I'm saying. Geo is not reported. There's nothing.
Okay, let me double check.
Look at the
Mr.
quarters in front of
Valderas,
you.
for the 2024, the second quarter, what number did you hear? It was that
14,000. You had $14,916.58 is what she told you. It's wrong.
Mr. Valderas, what did you hear your testimony say for the second quarter of 2024?
For the second quarter of 2024, Your Honor, Securitas was $13,326.50. The geo job was $3,225.29.
Okay. So if
Huge
you leave
variance.
out the geo job and only do the one job, if he truthfully only had the second job in the first quarter, or what was it, just for one quarter? It wasn't showing prior or subsequent to the one quarter?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So if you just do the primary job, if his stated reasons for having an extra job was a high school graduation, then what do you get?
Yes, Your Honor. And I can do that calculation momentarily here, just putting the numbers into the calculator. Your Honor, I calculate that child support based on that income would be $749 a month, and that the medical support would remain at $160 per month.
160? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
So the 749 is based on how much average, what, gross and net income? What are the numbers?
Average gross would be $4,654.72, and the adjusted net after the 160 and taxes would be $3,745.40.
Okay. And then the 2 quarters for the one job was a total of close to 28,000. I got 27,000, roughly 927 or 928-ish. The 2 quarters for the one job.
Yes, Your Honor. I think, let's see here, 27,928.34.
Yeah, correct. That's what I got too. Okay. That makes sense. If we leave out the second job for the 1 quarter and we just go with the primary job, then the numbers are a little bit different. And I assume you would not be opposed to the 749 if you're trying to tell me 835 is wrong. Is 749 wrong, Mr. Allen?
Ma'am, I'm in agreement. So whatever you're in agreement with, I just want to get off this call.
Well, you're not going to rush me just because you want off. I'm trying to figure out.
I'm not rushing you. I'm not rushing you. I'm just.
Well, you keep telling me you want out. Well, no, I'm going to hear the evidence and it is important to me and I will try to do my job. So, well, we'll ask Ms. Hughes later, but now the state guidelines, are you opposed to that, Mr. Valderas, or is that making sense about why it would be lower if that second job is an aberration or just a slight?
Your Honor, I think Mr. Hughes's income is not as high as it was after the pandemic. I think he testified to as much, and I think the numbers bear that out. So the state's not opposed to the 749 guideline child support figure.
And the 160 in medical support, was that private insurance or Medicaid? I forgot what you said.
A government health plan, Your Honor.
Government health plan. Let me ask you real quick, Ms. Hughes, are you opposed to 749 in child support? on a
If-
temporary basis?
If that's what y'all have come up with, then that's
Oh,
what I would recommend.
Well, when you all is like, it's gonna be my decision ultimately, but I'm trying to figure out if you all are anywhere near close to an agreement or not. The state's not opposed now that we've heard the testimony about Mr. Allen's actual income, that one time he had the extra was for a stated reason. He doesn't have that job anymore, so it wouldn't be fair to just include it forever. So, yes, I would consider 749 being guideline support. Are you okay with that or not?
That's fine, yes.
Okay. Then, let's move on. The visitation issues are in question.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Allen, if you could decide the visitation question, how long would you do the supervised visits before going to unsupervised?
Not up to me, sir. You already know, I've already just stated my case, so it's not up to me, man. I just want to get off the call. I'm so sorry. I just want to get off the call.
Do you have a preference, Mr. Allen, or no?
Sir, it's going to be 13 months, 2 years, 3 years. It doesn't matter. I'm the person that's the deadbeat here. So let me be that, and so be it. And I just want to get off the call.
Well, Mr. Allen, the state heard Ms. Hughes' testimony. The judge heard Ms. Hughes' testimony. Well, I listen to both sides. I don't just take whatever someone says and say that is the truth. So this is your chance to say your part. Ms. Hughes has said her part, and she's going to have a chance to say more. But I want to hear from you. So what is from your perspective?
I don't have anything at this time. I apologize.
Okay. All right. Then I'll go ahead and pass the witness, Your Honor.
If I heard you correct, Mr. Allen, because of your job, what you're suited better for either Thursday night or Friday night or both for evening hours, if you're available and back in time?
Friday, yes.
And you did want at a police station, no matter what I say, maybe you start there. And if you all agree, you can go to the museum or a park for a while or something in those 2 hours.
Mhm.
If you agree to something, it'd be okay. You'd be willing to try that even if I did say the police station.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then Ms. Hughes, now that you heard he's okay with that because of his hours and stuff, what are you saying? Is that workable?
The police station on the evenings is not going to work during the week. That's dinner time, shower time, getting things together with my kids for the next day. I make Preston's lunch. Like the evening times is when we kind of settle down and get things ready for the next day. I can't be in a police station parking lot with 3 kids for 2 hours just standing there doing nothing.
How old are your other kids? You said 7 and what?
7 and 9.
And you can't leave them in somewhere else while you do this?
No, ma'am. I mean, I am their sole caregiver as well. I don't have family here in New Braunfels.
Well, if his job takes him out of the country and he's just not available, you don't want to accommodate something somehow, somewhere?
I don't feel that I should accommodate someone who has been an absent father to my child for almost 4 years. He needs to put in the effort.
Tell me, the child's, what do you mean school years? The child's 3. What do you mean? What do you?
I didn't say school years. I said that for the past almost 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
So I shouldn't have to accommodate Andre. He needs to step up and be a man and be a father. The evening times, like I said,
I've heard you say all that. The problem is he's got a job. He's had it for several years. It's a lucrative job. You think he should just quit it so he can accommodate your schedule on weekends?
I didn't say that.
Well, tell me what'll work. I don't want to hear the argument about why you want him to do whatever. I want to hear the times and hours you think would work if the ones he's proposing don't. So what do you know, knowing what his schedule is?
If the evening times on Fridays is what works best for him, that's fine. But meeting at a police station is not ideal for children who have to eat dinner and do things.
Well, if I said it wasn't ideal to go to the children's museum every single time and have to pay and let the child run around with other kids and you just supervise the kid, it's not bond one-on-one time.
Well, the children's museum is interactive for both the parents and the kids. The parents have to pay as well because it's interactive for the parents as well. So you don't just sit and let your child run around and play. You actually go around with the child and play with the child. It's interactive.
But you want it there every single time?
Well, they're not open on the evenings anyway. They're open on the weekends.
Okay, then what other place would you recommend if they're not open evenings?
But since I'm very limited to days. If we're doing Friday evenings, like I said, my house, I mean, that may not be ideal for Andre, I don't know, but my house where Preston lives and has his toys and we go on walks, we do things. Preston's in his comfort zone. Preston's in his environment.
There won't be any other adults except the two of you there? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm the only one that lives here. Or we can meet at the park. There's Fisher Park that's not too far away. Very nice park.
Does that cover if it's raining or it's super hot?
Well, if it's in the evening times,
does it have cover of any kind if it rains or it's
yes, they have like covered areas where the tables are and stuff. And it does, when the time changes, it's going to get dark at 6. So it's even going to mean it's not ideal at the park either, past a certain time.
Then maybe that's not ideal, because what I'm thinking of doing is doing it. I already told you earlier, a temporary order to see how it works, see that he's visiting, see how the bonding's going, and then review you probably in November or so. So can you think of something that would work? That's what I'm asking you. What's going to work? Because otherwise, I can side with you or him and then just put it in the order, and then it's not going to work. I want it to work. That's my job. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job in my book. If I'm setting one of you up for conflict and he can't show up at all, then you can have more ammunition against him that he shouldn't have any visits. Now, Mr. Allen, I'm trying to help you too, but you're going to have to give a little because I want this to work for your schedule as well. So is there any place else other than the police station that you think would be amenable to a visit, a nice visit, if it's not at Ms. Hughes' house? I assume you wouldn't want to be there, but you tell me. Is that a possibility or not?
Respectfully, no. I'll be at the police station. That's all I have, and due to my job, like I said, if it can accommodate, then ma'am, you do what you do with your best interest. I can't do anything. I need a camera and I need documentation. Because as you can clearly see, I'm being told that I don't do this and I don't do that, and I'm getting tired of it. So at the end of the day, camera, police station. You can't do those, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know New Braunfels. I don't live there.
So is your way or the highway, really?
Not really. It's just the fact that
you haven't had visits with your...
You're going to put in orders. You're going to put in orders for me to meet at a museum. And at the end of the day, if I don't make it there in time, then I'm going to get dinged for not making it there on time. Who's going to protect me if I don't make it there on time? Nobody. That's
No, Ms. Hughes. No, I'm talking to him. I'm talking to each of you individually. I'm not asking you to start arguing with each other. That's what got you here. Mr. Allen. The problem with the police station, again, you think they're documenting, you're going to have to stand underneath the camera the whole time? And that's a good business. That's what you want? That's what you want for your one time with your child is on
the entire parking lot is covered. It's not about standing underneath the camera. The entire parking lot.
Is it a parking garage or is there canopy or what? What do you mean it's covered?
I have no idea. I don't know anything. New Braunfels is not where I live. My zip code is in San Antonio.
I don't know the police station in New Braunfels either. So what do you mean it's covered? How do you know it's covered?
I'm looking at it right now on Google Maps. It's wide open. It's covered. It's got trees and everything. It looks like a beautiful scenery to me.
The parking lot is open. It's not covered.
Yeah, it's open. The street's right here. The trees are right here. The building is right here in the front. I'm looking at it. At the end of the day, like I said, I want a camera and I want documentation, period.
Good Lord. I don't take well to being told what to do, Mr.
I'm not telling you.
I get to tell you what to do. That's my job.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just
saying. So
saying.
If I say if it's somewhere else, you're not going to go at all? That's what you're...
I'll get there, but like I'm telling you, by the time I do get there, if I don't make it there on time, I'm gonna be right back in front of either you or another judge with the same old song and dance saying that I did not make it and I'm a deadbeat and blah, blah,
Well, okay. Blah. If it's late enough on Thursday, you would have gotten back and maybe gotten some sleeping time or something. Is that what you've told me earlier? That Thursday
my sleep doesn't matter. I'm used to it. At the end of the day, Friday is the day that we agreed upon. I said Thursday and Friday. I said I get off Wednesday nights going into Thursday mornings. By the time I sleep or whatever, that's why I said Fridays.
But you don't think Thursday nights?
I have no idea. I can't promise that. It's
okay. You can only say Friday nights are the best time for you once a week.
It's not about Friday. I said Thursday and Friday, but I'm just saying Thursdays is not guaranteed for me due to flight plans. I do not run the airlines. I do not know anything about what's going to happen from Thursday to Friday. I could be delayed.
So you said you get back
anything.
Wednesday night to Thursday morning, so there's a very good chance you can fit in a Thursday night visit.
Yes, ma'am. But if they cancel the
Do you
flight, then it
want,
goes
I
into
know,
Friday.
but do you want that visit, or do you just want once a week on Fridays where you know you're gonna make it?
Friday, I can make it Friday. Yes.
Do you want the Thursday ones if you can make it and you call her or somehow you let her know you're not gonna be there?
I'm
so
not
she doesn't
calling
show
her.
up?
Friday's fine. I'm not calling her. Friday is fine.
Okay. Well, you got to communicate if you're not going to be there because she does not need to be sitting wherever I order
Well, I had
out
to
there
email.
waiting for you where you don't visit, where something happened on Fridays too.
Send me an
You're
email.
telling me every single Friday you're going to be able to be there, even if it's at what time Friday did you ask for him?
I'm not doing anything that's going to jeopardize my job and my safety. So at the end of the day, I'll email, I'll communicate that way. That'll be the only black and white that I'll give.
Tell
I'm
me
not
again,
calling
Miss Hughes,
anybody.
what time is the dinner time
6, 7-ish,
and bedtime?
8:30.
And there's no way you can feed them a little bit earlier and to be there for a couple hours Friday evenings? So if we said, yeah, 5:30 to 7, well, here we go. You want to be home by 7:30, so it'd have to be like 5:30 to 7:30. You can't feed them early, or
It all just depends on what time I get off of work. So I get off of work, then I have to go get all 3 of my kids. So,
so what time do you get home and can leave again with the kids Friday?
I would say 6 o'clock would be the best time, guaranteed.
So 6 to 8,
Yes.
and that would work for you too, Mr. Allen?
Yeah, that's fine.
6 to 8 p.m. Fridays, okay. If I allowed you to show up at the police station and then y'all can be decent and talk about it, whether you should stay there or go somewhere else with that, is that a total disaster or not, Ms. Hughes?
I feel like it would be disaster because Andre would probably want to stay there. But like I said, staying there with 3 kids in the parking lot for 2 hours is just insane to me. You can't bond with a child. You can't do activities with a child. You can't do things with a child in a parking lot. He needs to be in Preston's environment, in his zone, doing things that Preston likes to do. So yeah, as much as Andre doesn't want to be at my house, or I may not want him here, like at my home in the evenings, honestly, that is the best place because we go on walks. We live on the river on the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels. We go on walks down there. There's a basketball court. There's a sand volleyball. Preston has a bike that he rides. Like things like we can meet at my house, but we could still go outside and do
So was that the Fisher Park you were talking about?
No, that's my house. My house has a
Your
really
house
nice,
has basketball courts and a river and all, whatever you said?
yes, because I live on my apartment is on the Guadalupe River. So we have private access to the river, and down here it's really nice scenery, a lot of acres, and there's a basketball court, a volleyball court.
Is there any way you can get there without going through your front door?
Correct, yes.
Which is how?
Because if we meet down where the grass is and the water and the volleyball court and basketball court, he doesn't have to come into my house. He comes in through my gate to my apartment complex, but he doesn't have to come into my house.
And he has to have the code for the gate?
If the gate's closed, sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not, but I can give him a code.
Is there a place on that, in that whole area where you can start off where it's covered in case it's hot or raining or cold or whatever?
There is, yeah. The office has a deck, and it's a covered deck with chairs and tables. Even underneath is a covered area, and there's tables that have those umbrellas on them.
I'm not getting, is there an address to this place or a name to this place or something else that would identify it? How you get to
Yes, if we're referring to my house, which is what I'm talking about, it's 77.
Don't give me your address. Don't give me your address, but
Oh,
I would get it for the order, but not for live stream right now. So
Okay.
he could go to your address and then find which tables or where are they exactly, right close to your particular condo or something? Further
It's down a ways. It's down, yeah, he could easily access it, get down there. Preston could have his bike, Preston could ride his bike, like he could. I think that, like I said, Andre needs to be in Preston's environment and do things that Preston likes to do.
Well, the last thing I want to do is put him in your house under your roof, and then there's no witnesses to anything, and who knows, y'all, if y'all aren't talking even here right now, I'm not sure how it'll go with nobody there. But I'm just saying, if he comes to your front door, but it does not come to your house inside, that you can direct him how to get to where the covered picnic tables are.
Yeah, and even my patio is huge. My patio has a sectional couch out there.
You don't have cameras out there?
Yes, I have a Ring doorbell camera on my front and back door.
Would you be willing to record it and be ordered to record while you're there?
Well, if we're outside the whole entire time, is that what you're saying? Like if we're right?
No, at least to start, but if it ends up being there the whole time because you didn't go anywhere else.
Okay. Yes, my doorbell camera does record videos.
In the back patio as well?
Yes.
Okay, tell me why all that wouldn't work, Mr. Allen.
I have no accessibility to the camera and I don't feel safe. Not going. Police station's perfect.
Mr. Valderas, are you aware of the police station and whether it does have trees or places to sit that's not inside somebody's car?
No, Your Honor, I've never been there.
Neither have I. And so how do you envision it working in the parking lot of the police station, Mr. Allen?
It's going to be wonderful. Trees, I'm looking at it. It's very unique. Beautiful scenery. You can see the trees. You can throw a football. You can interact by talking and conversating and communicating, playing.
So you'd be throwing the football in the park in the concrete parking lot with the trees close by, or is there a grassy area where the trees are that you could use?
There's a grassy area right next to the tree where the trees grow.
Can you look it up, Mr. Valderas, or have somebody from your office look it up and see if
it's by a main road. There's a main road right there. That wouldn't be very safe.
Yes, Your Honor, I can look up the location of the New Braunfels Police Department.
Is there any substations, or you know what street you're talking about, Mr. Allen? Can you say the street name?
I don't know the street name. It's right there. It's in New Braunfels. Just it's the only police department. I'm looking at it. It's right off I-35, and you'll see it.
Okay. Okay, when I look it up on Google, it looks like it takes me to the sheriff's department.
What is it? It's not the police department, it's the sheriff's department?
That's what it keeps on coming up on Google. City of New Braunfels Police Department. Takes me to 3030 West San Antonio Street, New Braunfels, Texas 78130.
It should be on Seguin Avenue, I believe.
Can you tell what street it's on, Mr. Allen? What you're looking at?
Yep, that's it.
Which one?
She just said it. Just give me for 1 second. I just got to go right out here. I'm going to step out and come right back in. Yo.
I do see a
Mr. Valderas, wait till he, Mr. Valderas,
yes,
Mr. Allen excused himself, so he's going to come right back.
I'll figure it out. Yeah. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay, what do you have, Mr. Valderas?
Okay, Your Honor. I do see a New Braunfels Police Department on Google located at 1488 South Seguin Avenue, New Braunfels, Texas. It says that it's permanently closed, but I don't, that's just what Google says.
Yeah, we don't know. I don't know. I don't live there, but I mean, that's a good indicator.
New Braunfels
So
law.
they're closed and that's not workable for your conditions you're wanting to set, Mr. Allen? Got any other place?
No, I don't know any place. I don't know New Braunfels. I don't live there. I don't know. I prefer a police station. Anyone in New Braunfels is cool with me. Police stations are awesome.
Well, you gotta
Like
find.
Your Honor, there are some trees in that parking lot, but I don't know if it's closed or open.
Well, they're not. The camera's going to be directed at the trees. I mean, they might be surrounding the building for the entryways, but I'm still not sure it's workable, Mr. Allen. Okay. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Allen?
Nope.
On visitation or child support and medical support?
Nope.
Anything else you want to say on those two issues, Ms. Hughes?
I guess my concern would be where to meet for visitation.
Well, yes, that's been my concern. That's what I've been trying to figure out, and I haven't decided it. You'll hear it when I say it. So anything else you want to say for me to consider on those two issues?
Yes, I think when choosing a place for my son to meet his dad, it needs to be a place that's kid friendly and fun and enjoyable for him, and not just standing around.
Well, here I have two opposing parental views on what's good for each of you and not necessarily for the child, but here I go.
I'm suggesting something good that's for the child. Andre is suggesting something what's best for him. And I don't know why he has so much pull in this in where we meet anyway, because Andre knows nothing about his son. So why would Andre's opinion even matter?
I'm not going to answer that, Ms. Hughes. Anything else?
That's it.
You're going to get
Okay.
child support.
Mr. Valderas, do you have a closing argument, sir?
Your Honor, for the purposes of temporary orders, the state's recommendation for this case would be that child support be set at $749 per month to start on September 1, 2024, that medical support be based on the government health plan, and that medical support be set at $160 per month, also beginning September 1, 2024. I believe the parties have agreed that Ms. Hughes should be the primary managing conservator in this case, but as most of the testimony has been about the visitation and the location of the visits, the state doesn't take an official position on that. We defer to Your Honor's best judgment as to what is the best interest of the child in this case.
No, I didn't hear anything by anybody. There's been any family violence at all, Mr. Valderas? Is that your understanding?
Your Honor, we didn't yet. Just correct. I don't think I listed a testimony with regard to family violence. However, from talking to the parties, it doesn't seem like there is an issue of family violence between the two of them.
Thank you.
And neither indicated to me that there
And if
was.
I did a temporary order, do you have a recommended, based on our calendar, a reset date, probably in November sometime?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Reset date for what?
I told you I was going to do a temporary order because I don't have a crystal ball to decide your lives for the next 14 years, 13 years. I'm going to do a temporary order.
Is there any way that I could just not come back? I don't want to deal with this. Can we just
Well, I'm going to set temporary orders because I said so already, because there's other issues I have to address that I didn't address now. Is there any back pay issues, Mr. Valderas, or can that be resolved today?
I think it would require Ms. Hughes' testimony. I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Well, let me find out, because if maybe I'll change my mind and give him what he wants, but
you said a back
final order.
You said a back what? I didn't understand that.
What I said was, let me hear some additional evidence on another issue that I haven't heard, because if I can do a final order, it'd be in my interest to not have you all come back. However, I don't believe I have necessarily all the information I need to do a final order. So I'm going to figure it out if Mr. Valderas can address a few issues with Ms. Hughes next.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Hughes, with regard to the issue of back child support, are you asking for retroactive child support in this case?
Nope, I have never asked for back child support.
Okay. Then, Your Honor, I don't think that will be an issue to resolve.
Okay. And then do you have any other issues that would need further testimony for a final order, Mr. Valderas?
Your Honor, the state does not. However, I know Ms. Hughes has a couple of witnesses that I don't know if she still intends to call, but the state has no other witnesses and rests.
You brought a second witness, Ms. Hughes?
It was only to testify on my side that Andre is indeed an absent father. So I had two people that were lined up that I see on a regular basis that never see Andre. But if they are not needed, then we do not.
I don't think there's any dispute that he's not saying he was there and you're saying, oh, no, he wasn't. Are you, Mr. Allen? Is there any reason to have more witnesses that say you haven't seen the child?
Nope, deadbeat. Let's get this done.
Would the witnesses have any other purposes other than an absent parent, Ms. Hughes?
No.
Okay, then we're not going to call the witnesses. I think you've made your case for that. Okay, the kid's 3, going to be 4 in November, Ms.
Yeah.
Hughes? And if I did a 1 year of supervised visits, so that would be at least 52 visits? Well, are you raising your eyebrows, Mr. Allen? I was going to do it for 3 months and bring you back in November so I can see that you got involved and you bonded and all that. You said, get it over with, Judge, get it over with. Do you want temporary or do you want final order? No,
What you
you're
said.
making all these hand signals that are not recorded. Tell me what you want.
What you said.
So, Ms. Hughes, if I ordered 1 year of visits at that
Oh,
level.
I thought you said 3 months. You said 3 months. What happened?
Only if it was a temporary order, so I could see you at that point. Do you want a temporary order or final order? Make up your mind.
I want a final order. Let's get this out the way. I don't want to come back.
So if he completed or he visited regularly for every Friday for however long, at least 6 months, maybe even as much as a year, is there any reason that anything else needs to happen other than he gets his weekend visits when the child's 4.5, maybe even older, Ms. Hughes?
So after the year, what would happen?
Well, if I order a year, I haven't said what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure this out, whether it's temporary and I stick to my guns and see y'all again or not. So what's going to happen is the next level would probably be either stair step or final order, standard possession order if the child's over the age of 4 and he's bonded with his father in a whole year. Or he's completed at least 52 visits or maybe even half of that, 26 visits.
So what is the question?
Why standard visitation shouldn't be the next step after a bunch of supervised visits.
Well, like I said before, it all just depends on how Andre does with
Well,
this.
I'm not going to say the order depends on you agreeing with it later on, blah, 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 blah. It's got to be specific. So you're saying a year's worth of supervised visits, there should be some bonding. So I would say I might order 52 times. I might order 26 times. I'm not sure yet. But if there's a bunch of supervised visits first, that he completes all of them, however long it takes, and the next level is the standard visits with weekends and holidays and summer times, tell me why you don't think that should happen. If he's bonded with his kid, why he shouldn't have the standard visits when the kid's over the age of 4 by that point?
Well,
4.5 or 5.
he currently doesn't have time for his son. So
You have
That's
time.
not what I'm asking you, ma'am. I'm asking you why standard visits shouldn't be the next step after a bunch of supervised visits like you're asking for.
if that's the next step, then and Andre,
That's what I'm asking. Do you want a final order on those terms or why that shouldn't be the case? Y'all are forcing me to make an issue, and in my better judgment, I could give you a final order, but I'm trying to figure out what the terms should be. So tell me why I shouldn't do something like that, Ms. Hughes.
do the regular visits after a year.
No, do the regular visits after a bunch of supervised visits, and whether it's 6 months or a year, you don't know yet because I'm not sure yet. And I might stick to my guns and make you come back in 3 or 4 months.
Oh,
Because I don't have a crystal ball, people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I got to see what happens before I can see what the next level should be. And he's advocating to get the hell out of here and not come back. What are you advocating for, Ms. Hughes?
I'm advocating for my son in the best interest of my son.
What does that mean in terms of an order from the court? A temporary order, so I review it, or a final order and good luck with it?
Well, if, like I've said, my best interest is my son. I think my son's best interest would be a year of supervised visitations with his father. That is what I think should happen. If it's the final thing, like either, I mean, whether it's final or temporary, my mind on that will not change. I don't think that Andre's even going to visit him on the days that you're going to be like on Fridays anyway.
Well, do you get that? If he doesn't visit, they don't count toward his number of visits and he has to complete those before he ever gets to the next level, the standard visits. And that may be never if you're right and he doesn't show up. But if you're wrong and he shows up and he's bonded with the kid for at least 6 months to a year, why the heck should he not go to the next level? You haven't alleged family violence. You haven't alleged threats. You haven't alleged that he's going to kidnap the kid and take the kid to a foreign country. I mean, you haven't said anything other than he's just not been there. I'm trying to fix that. And so and I didn't hear any evidence that he was a danger to his child and that you didn't want him to be around your child. Now, I haven't heard any evidence because I'm trying to curtail this and move on because y'all want me to, was he any kind of, did y'all ever live together? Did he have any relationship with your children? Did he anything?
No,
Yes.
no relationship with my kids. My kids aren't very fond of him. We never lived together. Still.
Did he meet your kids?
Yes.
Did he treat them proper, with respect, at least, even if they didn't like him? Did he mistreat them, in other words?
No. No. He just.
I checked her in.
Well, that's what I'm headed towards. I mean, he hasn't shown anything to make me think he's a danger to your child. Why would a bunch of supervised visits not be enough for him to go to the next level?
Correct. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say is a year of supervised visitations, Andre should be at the point where he can go to the next level. The year all depends on Andre. Andre is
Okay.
in control.
Let me stop you. Well, even though you say 1 year, that's not how I write the order. I write it with a certain number of visits with a year in mind, half a year in mind, whatever I order. It's the number of visits. So it takes them longer to do it in that time period. Then the child gets older and it takes them longer to get to the next level. So a year's not going to go by and he does nothing and he shows up, oh, give me my standard visits. No, that's not the way the order is going to read. It's going to be, he has to meet the requirement of so many visits. So he does spend time with your child and he proves himself so that he can go to the next step.
Okay.
Do
Yes.
you get that?
Yes.
Okay. So do you want a final order or temporary order? I'm just weighing it now, whether I should or shouldn't.
I mean, where would be the meeting place for?
You want to know all the terms of the order before you agree with me? No, you get to tell me your position, then I get to decide.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's best. I mean, finalizing everything and being done sounds great because this has been going on for the most part of this year so far. I keep coming back. So I don't.
Well, tell me something that would change my mind and not do a final order.
I don't know. I just want my son to be safe and happy. So I don't know what to say. If it needs to be the final order, then that's fine. I'm just please begging, asking for a year of supervised visitations. I'm just begging for that. That's what I care about the most is my son's mental and emotional well-being and state of mind being around a stranger. He needs that time to bond and gain a relationship.
Well, that's my
Danger,
point.
danger.
If he gets to see the child, he won't be a stranger, whether it's 6 months or a year, whatever I decide. You get that?
Stranger danger.
In a whole different position. And you're not telling me anything that makes me fear that this child is in danger with this man.
I never said that, but Andre has had 4 years to be a father and he hasn't. So I don't get it.
Stranger danger.
Yes, exactly.
Do you know anything in his background, ma'am, that would cause you concern, or was this a
violent.
limited relationship and you didn't learn anything?
If a man cares and loves his child, he'll be a father. So by Andre's actions of not being present, he does not care or love his child. End of story. There's no excuses to be made for him. He does not care or love Preston.
And that y'all couldn't talk and reach an agreement on your own is all his fault?
Say that
It's all
again.
my fault.
That y'all didn't talk, couldn't talk, reach some agreements to get him involved is all his
I mean,
fault?
you can't force a man to be a father. If he wants to be a father and he wants to see his child, he'll say, "Hey, Holly, I'm coming over this weekend. What do y'all got going
He's
on?"
in a courtroom asking for visitation. Whether what worked or didn't work with y'all and before now is not my concern anymore, but he's here now.
Okay,
And if
yeah.
he doesn't step up, it's a problem. And then it's resolved by he's not involved in your child's life and he still has to pay child support. But if he does get involved and stay involved, and like you said, if he gets involved, he would be a good father. Well, that's what we'll see. I mean, he has to do a certain number of things before he gets to the next level. That's what I'm proposing as a final order. Any reason why I shouldn't do it? I'm giving you several chances now.
Why you shouldn't do a final order?
Yes.
Is a final order in the best interest? I don't know.
Well, you just told me if you got what you wanted, that it would be, or at least, and I'm not saying I'm going to give you what you want just because to make it a final order. No, you don't get to decide that. I get to decide that. Anything else you want to say is my position.
No.
Anything you want to say, Mr. Allen? Anything else?
She got what she want. Let's go.
Quit telling me to go. I get to decide when you go. This is my courtroom. I get to figure it out. I get to spend as much time. I can take a break and go think about it for 30 minutes. Or I can go do other cases and make you stay. Because I'm trying to weigh everything on the limited evidence I get. That's what I get every single day, day in, day out. He said, she said, what I want's best, know what he wants is best. And I'm not tired of it. I love my job. I'm trying to do my job. But it's really hard when I get this kind of contention and nobody wants to give him an inch. But let me go with Mr. Balderas. Do you think it would be best to do a final order, temporary order based on what I've heard and whether I'm going to hear anything different next time? The facts would change at all.
I'm not, Your Honor, there's so much hard feelings here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not sure they're going to be by me making them come back to court, but you don't take a position, Ms. Valdez. That's fine. I'm just asking.
I'm not sure, to be honest, Your Honor. I'm not sure anything will change in 3 or 6 months. It's really just going to depend on these two and if they are able to put their differences aside.
It always depends on the parents. That's the way it's supposed to be. What I tell people, and now you're going to have to listen to my speech, Mr. Allen, before I let you go, is that, I don't want to make you worse off than you walked in, and you're already pretty bad off if y'all don't talk and have no visits and you call it stranger danger. Well, he's still the father. You haven't alleged anything in his background of any way. And in fact, I've admitted that if he got involved, he probably would be a good father. So I've got those facts. I don't think those facts are going to change in 3 or 4 months. Now, what I do, you may like or not like. However, I'll just tell you, and I told you earlier that I'm not a district judge that's been elected with a court reporter. I'm an associate judge. I've been appointed. You do have the right of appeal. So if I get it wrong, you get to go to another court if you want. If you choose a time, make the time to either hire a lawyer to do it or do it yourself. You have a right of appeal to the higher court, the district court level, if you don't like what I did and you think I made some error, and you can go tell it to them. And usually when you go up to that level, you might lawyer up, you might get more witnesses, you might get more time, and then it's a whole different case than you brought here to me today on the he said, she said. And that irritates the heck out of me. But on the other hand, this is my job. So this is what I do. So if I get it right and maybe y'all can live with it and I make it try to work, then maybe y'all can go and be the parents you're supposed to be without denigrating each other, without talking to the kid, without making them think it's stranger danger, without you being estranged either. I mean, it takes 2 to tango, people, and you are the only 2 that this kid has. So if you don't do it for him, I can't make you. I can set an order. Sure, I can do it. I could put the 4 corners of an order together and think I did my best, but it's up to you to make it work. And if you don't, then it's on you if it works or it doesn't work. And it's on you to get lawyers to appeal me, or it's on you to go modify it if it didn't work down the road and you need to do something different, because I don't have a crystal ball and couldn't get it right, and you all didn't either to present something else today or not. So there's lots of options. This order only is final. Do you all make it? So if you come back for a child support modification, which is possible, Mr. Allen, the state keeps the jurisdiction, and I do too, to hear cases for modification of the numbers of child support if your income goes up and down. But for visitation, what I do here, if it's a final order, you're stuck with it. You're stuck with it. And if it doesn't work, then it's up to you to tweak it. because the order does say on visitation alone, if you all can agree to something different, because maybe things calm down, because maybe he got bonded, because maybe y'all can talk, all that good stuff, y'all can tweak it on your own. So you can change the number of supervised visits. He's doing well and the kid loves him and runs to him. It doesn't have to be as long as I said. You can stop it quicker and go to the next level quicker. If something else needs to happen, then you all change the location, then you do that. Any number of things on visitation, if you all can agree, and it would be in your interest to try to reach an agreement, then good luck. And if it works, great, you can do it. If it doesn't work, then good luck. You gotta either figure out how to be your own lawyer or spend the money on a lawyer to go modify the visits. That's just the way the system is. The state's not going to do a visitation modification. I don't get paid to do visitation modifications. There are other courts for that, but that's the next step if this didn't work out and this is a final order. I'm telling you all that because I think it's in my interest and it's the law that I need you to make you aware that you have the right of de novo appeal if you think I made an error. And there's certain things to do. Mr. Balderas, if you'll attach the de novo rights to the back of this order. And
Yes,
I
Your
actually
Honor.
think, Mr. Allen, you just think this isn't going to work. Go hire a lawyer, see what he thinks, and then spend the money on appealing me. Great. Doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't hurt my feelings. That's how the right of appeal works. And that's my job as an associate judge to start something. And then if things develop and you in another court on another day with a different set of facts, then maybe you get something different. And that's the way it usually works. Okay, I'm going to do a final order. Let me remember real quick. This was an AOP case. He signed the AOP, yes.
You
Okay.
did, Your Honor.
Then there's final suit affecting the parent-child relationship. I will appoint by agreement the parents are the joint managing conservators. Mother's the primary. Father has the right of visits. Did you discuss the geographic restriction, Mr. Balderas, or not?
I did not, Your Honor.
Then I'm going to impose no geographic restrictions since I don't have any evidence on it. Okay, you agreed to that. I think you kind of sort of agreed to the numbers and they're based on actually reported income by the states to witness. So I will order the child support of $749 starting September 1st with medical support of $160 a month starting September 1st and mothers to provide the government medical program as insurance. Now the order will say, even though they haven't talked to you about it, it will be in the order that anything not covered by insurance, there's a split 50-50 for co-pays, deductibles, any of that. As long as it's government assistance, ma'am, and you qualify for it or your child qualifies for it, then there should be no extras or co-pays or anything like that. If you go to private insurance, well, actually first, if you let the insurance lapse because you no longer qualify, Ms. Hughes, and you don't get private insurance on your own and something bad happens and there's catastrophic medical bills, you're liable for 100% of it because you're the one that's ordered to carry the insurance, Ms. Hughes. So you get private insurance. It's your interest to get to the state as quick as you can to modify the order so that you get or actually just to provide insurance if so that you don't get the 100% hit if something bad happens. However, if you do change insurance, you need to tell the state so they can change the order, modify the order, and tell Mr. Allen so he can have a card or have whatever it is, the private insurance, so he can use it if necessary when the child's with him. So all that is in the order, even though it hasn't been explained prior, and I'm trying to give you the shorthand rendition. The retroactive support, that was also, I think, in agreement. You don't oppose mom not asking any back pay. That's what I heard, so I'll grant that. No retroactive child support, retroactive medical support, or retroactive dental support. And none will be granted. On the contested issue of visitation, I'm going to do every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. at actually what I'm going to do. You think you got me, you didn't. I'm going to alternate it. 1 week at the 1488 South Seguin Avenue, or is that the address you gave me? That was the right one, Mr. Balderas?
I believe so, Your Honor. Let me see here.
Where did I write it down? You said one was closed and
1488.
then,
That was the closed location, Your Honor. But
I'm sorry, tell me the right one.
well, there's the New Braunfels Sheriff's Office, Your Honor, and
No, the sheriff.
that is located at 3030 West San Antonio Street in New Braunfels.
Okay.
And it doesn't look like there's tree. Well, there are trees there. It also looks
Okay.
like maybe the parking lot is closed off, but who knows when this photo was taken on Google Maps.
I'm gonna do alternating, one where you want it, sir, and one where you want it, ma'am. So one's at the sheriff's office, and then the next one would be at the outside of mother's residence, that you meet at. Do you want him to meet you at your front door and then you go from there, or your back patio, wherever the ring?
Yes, back patio, yeah.
At mother's, without giving your residence address on live stream, we'll get it afterwards to double check. At mother's residence, back patio, and you're required to allow him, if the gate's locked, to give him the code, or to double check that he can get in, not just let him figure it out himself, because he can't. So you're required to give him the information necessary to access your home, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Allen, what?
Yes. Question. No, I don't. I'm not going to nobody's house. I'm cool with that. Let's just do like you said. Let's alternate if you don't mind. Police station, and then if hey, we got to go to a doggone public place. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to our house. I don't want to. For what? No, I'm good.
Okay, you want the children's museum or what?
I don't
but
care.
not
I'm not
open?
going to her house. I want to go to a public place and a police station. Like you said, alternate police station and
Can you pick another public place, ma'am? I'll leave it up to you totally if children's museum's not open.
on her house for what?
Yeah, I mean, that's the evening time. Kid places are closed.
So give me somewhere else, a public place that you pick.
Well, I guess it would have to be Fisher Park then, 'cause
Okay.
Don't they have places where they eat with public places like for kids? Peter Piper Pizza. I mean, think it off the top of my head here.
Andre.
I'm not going to your house. Like I said, public place with cameras.
No, okay, you picked a place and you've asked her to consider whatever else, a restaurant, fine. Ms. Hughes, you get to pick the next place. What do you want? It's not your house.
Okay, so could we do the Fisher Park then?
Peter Piper
I said you get to pick, so yeah, it is Fisher Park then, and they'll get the address or I'd put it in the order. So it's alternating times. I'm gonna do the first one being at the sheriff's office and get started there and try to figure it out. And if you skip the alternating ones at her place, then you're just doubling the number of times you need to visit, sir, if you're gonna do that. That's just wrong, and it's just gonna take longer, but that's on you. That's not.
I'm doing what's in the best interest of the child and my safety.
Well, the best interest to see his dad as often as possible based on your schedule. And if y'all can tweak it, please, if you heard me, didn't hear me earlier, you hear me now, that y'all can tweak it. You can tweak the locations, the dates, the times. If y'all can figure it out that works out better for you, it's in your interest to do it, then do it. If you can't figure something out by agreement, then you're stuck with my order. So, it will be I told you already, the times every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. and alternating locations with the sheriff's department location being first, and then the Fisher Park being second. And
So
then
I have a question.
What?
I have a question.
What?
Prior to me showing up at the locations, as far as knowing whether or not Andre will even be there, how do I go about that?
Okay, Mr. Allen, you don't want to talk to her. You don't want to give her advance notices you're going to be there. And I'm not saying you talk. Can you text? Can you do an app that says I will be there? There's an app we can provide as a tool to communicate so y'all don't have to talk and argue and be toxic. Do you want that app? Is that a yes with a pointing your finger at me, sir?
Is it free?
Yes, it's a free app. There you have premium levels you can pay for, but you don't have to. You can go to the entry level. Okay.
And I have another question.
God, that's being really disrespectful, Mr. Allen. I'm just going to say it. I'm asking you to
I'm not
answer.
being disrespectful, ma'am.
No, you don't point your finger at a judge and make me decide that that's a yes. Come on. I asked you yes or no. Yes? Make it a yes. Quit pointing at me.
You got it.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Hughes, what?
So if Andre doesn't communicate with me, or he does say that he will be there, and I go and I'm waiting for like 30 minutes and he's not showing up, how long do I have to wait before I'm able to leave when he doesn't show up?
I think a reasonable amount of time is 20 minutes, and put that in the order. 20
Okay.
minutes.
Yes, please put that.
His traffic's running late, his plane was delayed, he doesn't get there till an extra day. It's in your interest to communicate with her so she doesn't use it against you, that you're not showing up, that you're not telling her, and she's having to sit there with the child and make the child suffer and then be sad that he's not gonna see his dad or not care if you don't show up. So what I'm gonna do is
Can
give
we
you
do
the
that in the
app.
app? Isn't that
Give you
what
the
app is
app,
for?
y'all communicate by app, one that you're gonna be there ahead of time. Let's see. Is 24 hours advance notice sufficient, Ms. Hughes?
Yes, I would like 24-hour notice, yes.
I don't
Okay,
have phone service. That 24 hours. Remember, that's that Thursday when I'm flying in, so I don't have phone. Planes do not have phone service.
Well,
you're
Friday
flying in on Thursday morning or Thursday night?
Thursday night, if there is a delay and I'm still on the same plane, we do not carry phones.
Okay.
ICE does not let you carry phones.
Can you do it by Friday morning? So she knows by Friday evening before she goes to work. You should be here by then if that's your day off.
I'm
You have all
praying.
day to travel Thursday.
I'm gonna put it in God's hands if I can make it back on time safely.
Well, okay, there's an app though, and yes, if you can't get off a plane to do it, but if you get on the plane, you're still at the airport and you think you're gonna make it on time, you can also tell her before the 24 hours.
It's not a regular airport, man. That's the reason why I'm telling you. You don't have cell phone service, so that these guys are not getting tracked. I'm telling you, I don't have phone
So
service.
you wouldn't have internet to have the app available on some device so you can use the
No.
app?
There's no Wi-Fi and no phone service.
Okay, you're making my life harder and harder, but all I can do is tell you, you got to tell her by 7 a.m. of the morning of, and I'm
I
going to
promise.
presume,
I'll do my due diligence. I promise, in the interest of the
Yes.
child.
or as soon as practicable, as if you landed wherever you land, the minute you have Wi-Fi, she's the first thing you can think of. Just tell her I'm going to be there,
What?
even if it's a few hours ahead of time. Well, yes, she needs to know and she needs to prepare for it. Yes, and she needs to feed them and she needs to do whatever she needs to do. So yes, you tell her as soon as possible. Well, no, the way I'll say is, let me find somewhere to write.
So after 20 minutes, I'm able to leave after he doesn't show up.
I'm sorry, what?
So
30.
after 20 minutes of me waiting and he doesn't show up, I'm able to leave.
I'm saying yes, I think that's reasonable out of a 2-hour visit. What, are you going to plan to be late every single Friday night on your day off? No,
No, ma'am.
that should not happen very often if you get in on Thursdays or whatever, or Friday mornings. So,
Madam,
but if he explains it and tells you, well, yeah, you write it on your calendar, no show. But also if he tells you something, so he said blah, 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 at what time he told you, so that when you're in court and telling the judge on a contempt of visitation that you didn't let him visit or he didn't make it, and you want to modify it, you're not trying to remember what happened, because judges are going to be mad at you if you don't have the same memory and y'all are all over the map on it. Okay, what do you want, Mr. Allen, now?
can we put
Finish.
weather permitting? With just weather permitting, we're, this is summertime. We're going into, you said September 1st, child support starting, and we're going into the spring, fall, so
What do you
I wanna
mean
make
weather
sure.
permitting? No, you show up and then you figure out another place if it's freezing cold or super hot or raining, thunders.
No. I'm saying in the order you put weather permitting, because if the roads are closed, you're gonna ding me. If the roads are closed, how do I get there? I'm just saying.
You're talking about getting
I'm
to the
not being
darn.
disrespectful. I'm just saying. I live in San Antonio. She lives in New Braunfels. It's almost 45.
You're talking about civilization. You're not talking about your airports and international places. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about
How
I'm talking about
often do roads close? It may be an aberration. You all communicate, for God's sake. Maybe you use a phone at that point. I can't cross this bridge. It's down. You'd call and tell her. You do something. I'm not going to put every darn scenario, because I can't think of every scenario that you're going to come across. It's for you to use your judgment in the moment. But as a general rule, you tell her 24 hours ahead of time through app close, or as soon as app practicable after landing from what did you call it? International travel with a day job, with his job.
And just one last question, if I may.
Wait, I'm not finished.
Okay.
I answered yours, that you're going to tell her ahead of time, and if you don't, she's going to ding you for it and write it down. Y'all should both keep careful calendars. I'm also going to tell her that if you're 20 minutes late, You need to have called her ahead of time, figured it out, and say, please wait for me for 25 minutes. I'm so close, I'm almost there, but it's not my fault, and explain it to her. And if you're not, and you can't, and you won't, then I'm gonna say after 20 minutes, you're late and you've missed it. She shouldn't have to be there 30 to 45 minutes and extend the visit just for you each and every time, because whatever. So 20 minutes, you're out of there, and that'll be in the order. 20 minutes is considered late, and mother's allowed to leave, and dad forfeits to the visit. And I'm writing this down so when the order comes through, I remember what I said, and I make sure it's in the order. Okay. Now, let me finish here before you start bombarding me with something else. Let me do some math on a calendar year, for God's sakes. Okay, I'm not going to do 6 months, and I'm not going to do 12 months of visits. I'm going to do 3/4, so that'll be 39 visits. And there'll be supervised visits, as I've already stated, the days, the times, the locations, and the no advance notice. So nobody ever gets everything they want, and I'm trying to compromise and trying to make it good enough for both of you. But after that, I think it's sufficient, man. If he's visited 39 times and you can't go to the next level till you've completed that first level and before you advance to standard visits. So if it takes you 2 years to do 39 visits, so be it. You don't go to standard visits till you get to that level. And if he drops off the face of the earth and doesn't never see your child again, he's still ordered to pay child support. That's no excuse if you're not visiting, sir. And he still has the visits that he can drop in and out of unless you go back to court and modify them. And part of the order will say the general terms and conditions for the standard visits would be to go to her doorstep. At that point, I would think you can at least talk. Or you figure something else out for me.
Yeah.
At mother's residence for exchanges at that point. That I'm not going to keep the alternating police station or the park. You get to that level, it's going to go to normal. How normal people do it, you pick up from the child's residence, mother's residence. Okay, court costs, I'm going to waive them. I'm not even going to talk about it or.
So how long is the 39 visits?
What?
How long is the 39 visits?
What do you mean how long? It's 39 times. 39 Fridays. They don't have to be in a row. They have to be 39 times.
Like
Visits
so
are 2-hour
many-
visits that are supervised from 6 to 8.
So how many months is that, I guess?
I said it's 3/4 of a year. It's not 6 and it's not 12. 12 would be 52. 6 months would be more like 26. So I've gone to 3/4 of a year. So 39 visits means 39 visits, ma'am. That answers your question. Mr. Valderas, did I leave anything else out?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I just wanted to confirm after 39 visits, it's the standard visitation schedule.
Yeah, with the general
Okay.
terms and conditions, including the pickup and drop off.
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
is that overnight? Does that mean overnight?
The standard means overnight. Did you not hear that it's every other weekend and alternating holidays and summer times? Yes, it goes to overnights. That's what standard visits is, ma'am.
So why are we jumping from supervised to overnight? I thought it was like
Because you
gradual.
told me if he visited enough times that he would bond with the child, then he'd be a great dad and he should have the visits at age 4 or 5, whatever, however long it takes at that level. Yes.
I didn't realize it was going to be an overnight thing because I was told that it's a process. You do supervise and then they do like from.
You're in a courtroom. You're talking to a judge. I wasn't part of the negotiations. I didn't hear that there should be anything intervening. I even tried to ask, and you told me clearly that if he's been involved, he's bonded, he's a good dad. He will be a good dad. So that's why I'm jumping, because at that point the child will be older, will know his dad, and there's no reason to suspect now any abuse or anything harmful, and there would be no reason to suspect it then, ma'am. That's why. You don't agree, and they go peel me. I don't care anymore. I'm telling you what I decided based on what I heard. That'll be the order of the court. I'm rendering it. It's my order. The state will draft it. Now, do you want to actually review it and sign it, or you want me to look at it and sign it for you? Ms. Hughes, you want to review it?
Well, can I say something, please? Or ask
Yeah.
something? If we're going from the supervised visitations, can we not go? Because I didn't realize it was going to be an overnight thing next. I in my mind, it was going to be from like 8 to 5 is what I've heard the next step from supervised visitations is. So he would have him all day and then it would gradually go
No,
to,
and you want me to figure out what the schedule should be in 3/4 of a year from now with the schedule you have now and with the disagreements about where to meet and all that good stuff? No, I'm not doing it. I don't think it's necessary. That's my judgment. You don't agree with me, go appeal me. That's what I'm telling you. Anything else? I
I'm
argued
trying
for
to do
temporary
a
orders
special-
and you all talked me into final orders, so I'm not reversing myself. Anything else, Ms. Hughes?
It's not reversing, it's just doing what's
No,
best.
I'm not reconsidering. I've heard the testimony. This is what I think would be best. I'm doing it whether you like it or not. You can appeal me. Anything else, Mr. Valderas?
Nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
Then the state will draft the order, send it to you by email. Anything coming in from the Texas Office of the Attorney General is a priority homework to open the order electronically, review it, sign it electronically, send it back. I give the process a week. So a week from today, if they haven't heard from you that there's errors, there's corrections, there's something wrong, you don't understand, whatever, because it's going to be like 30 pages long or so. If they don't hear from you and you haven't signed it, they're going to submit it to me and I review my orders to make sure they comport with my rulings. And the state's really good and efficient about taking notes and drafting orders anyway. So, but I double check them. So just so you know, you have the right to review the order, sign it, don't sign it, doesn't matter. I'm going to get it in a week. If you don't sign it, I get it quicker if you do sign it. So I guess we should think about the first weekend of the supervised visits. Today's already Friday. I probably won't sign the order no later till then. You'll submit it next Friday. And I won't be available I have a docket with you all that day and probably won't be available for the Labor Day weekend. So let's start with September. And the first Friday in September would be September 6th. I presume I'll have the order and have it signed before then. If you submit it in a week, Mr. Valderas?
I think that's very likely, yes, Your Honor.
So the visits are effective September 6th. So you start with a piece of paper in your hand that has a judge's signature on it. Okay, then that'll be the order of the court. Thank you, folks. All you have to do is check your emails, probably, maybe not today, by 5 o'clock Monday, and then I'll review it and sign it, and y'all get a signed copy. And if everything goes well, then it should start at September 6th with your copies in hand with my signature on it if you're end up at a police station and they don't know what you're doing there. Good luck. You're the parents. Make it work or go appeal me. Bye.